This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
All right, let's welcome in our friend Richard Davenport now to the program this morning. Richard, I know people are excited to see a night game coming up in W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium next weekend, but they're a little disappointed. Courtney Crutchfield, Pine Bluff wide receiver, 4-star. I want to say he's the highest rated recruit in this class, decommitted during the Arkansas-Florida game. Well, what's the latest on him and the possibility maybe him recommitting and signing with Arkansas?
Well, he's supposed to be at the game on Saturday, so that's very promising. He obviously, reopened. Just it is about. If we're getting technical, I think he announced it about 11:56 or something like that. But kind of a little bit of odd timing. But I think sometimes people forget that these kids are 16, 17, 18 years old, and they may not even know what time kickoff is. So, it is what it is. But I just tend to think that at the end of the day, if Arkansas continues to recruit him hard and shows him love, I think he'll end up being a Razorback. But you never know. I know Missouri, LSU, and Tennessee are still recruiting him. So we'll see. I just have to see how it goes from here. I
wonder, from Kenny Guyton's perspective, who's a wide receiver coach by trade, has lately been calling plays for Arkansas, with everything on his plate and him losing, quote unquote, one of his guys. I mean, how much time does he have to still talk with him and others during the midst of this change that he has in Fayetteville?
Yeah, obviously his schedule, his time is definitely a little bit more tied up. But you right now you have to do what you have to do to keep the class and recruit others to Arkansas. So they did communicate with him after the game, talking about Courtney and Coach Guyton and Coach Pittman. So I think that scored some points with him that they reached out as soon as after the game was over. They communicated with him. So I think that helped get him up to Fayetteville this weekend. I mean, at least he's supposed to be coming. But anyway, I just tend to think that he's always wanted to be a Razorback, and I just tend to think that if things go well with him in Arkansas, that he'll be back in the fold.
You mentioned Missouri there because I read some things around. Missouri's been on this kid and after his talents. Seems like their staff and with their head coach's ties to this state, they've really been working hard on a lot of the same kids inside our state borders that the Razorbacks are on.
Yeah, they definitely hit up several kids and offer several kids usually each year from the state, and they got a commitment from one of Courtney's teammates, Austin Denny, who's a pretty good prospect in himself, but they do a good job of recruiting guys that maybe even Arkansas is not even going to offer. That's what they did last year. They offered Jordan Harris, who's also a kid from Pine Bluff, a tight end that Arkansas didn't extend an offer to. So there are some former teammates up there. So that's probably one of the reasons why they're somewhat attractive.
I guess, and obviously this is what you do, so you follow it intently. This is the only waffling or decommit or any kind of fracture Sam's had to this point, right? With this commits.
Yeah, it is. Obviously things could change as soon as they get off the phone, but as of now, he's the only one. And I should also mention, one of the other reasons is just the uncertainty of the staff. I think that kind of played a role into this. So if they're back, I think he's probably a Razorback. But we'll see.
Richard Davenport with us on the McClarty Daniel Hotline. Richard, Tommy got to ref Walker White last week, and he's a kid that has really grown in athleticism and stood out. He's committed to Auburn right now. We got a text from BG and Rogers. Why do you think Arkansas lost out on Walker White? At least to this point, he seems firmly committed to the Tigers and Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, well, I mean, each staff, each coach has to make a decision whether or not to recruit a young man. Kendall Browse was more on Malachi Singleton. He wasn't as high on Walker White, and obviously that opened the door for other people, including Auburn, to get into the mix, and that was and I wrote about it. Talked to Walker before he made the commitment, and obviously published it after he made the commitment public to Auburn. That was one of the reasons. I mean, there was no hard feelings. It was just that Coach Browse made the decision to focus on Malachi Singleton, and Walker was very mature about it, saying that he understood, and that he had to pick his guy, and his guy was Malachi, and he understood that he probably needed to look elsewhere. So that's the main reason.
Richard, you sent me a stat last week talking about this 24 class. Now, you have Crutchfield defecting at this point. We'll see how much that changed, but really neck and neck with Tennessee. A good in-state class. You went all the way back to 2010. How full right now is this class of 2024, and just perspective-wise the rest of the SEC?
How full?
Sorry, how comparable is it to the rest of the conference?
Oh, comparable. Okay, yeah. Like you said, I mean, it basically, if you look at the stats from On3 and the average prospect rating, Arkansas and Tennessee's is right there. Tennessee's like 100th point, more than Arkansas. So just say that they're basically even. So they would basically be tied for seventh best in the SEC, and it would be the second best. Now that's with Crutchfield. If Crutchfield came back on board, it would be the second best not all time. Be the second best recruiting class as far as in-state kids since 2010. The only other class that would be better would be 2016 when Mattel Agim was a 5-star, and that was a big jump for that class just because he was a 5-star as far as average prospect rating. So again, if Crutchfield comes back on board, it'd be the second best in-state haul since 2010, and so it's a very good class. I think we've always mentioned it, especially with the defensive line guys. Charleston Collins, he's actually the highest rated according to On3 on the industry ranking average. He's the highest rated, and then Courtney Crutchfield is second, and then you have Kavion Henderson, who turned down Alabama to be a Razorback, at least verbally. He's highly rated, and then you got Braylon Russell. He's highly rated too. So overall, the class is very comparable to the SEC, and I think South Carolina surprisingly had the highest prospect average.
Yeah, Richard Davenport with us here on the McClarty Daniel Hotline. Home game at 3, home game at 6:30 as time is going over earlier. Then you got the Thanksgiving weekend and the game on Friday. For some, they'll still be playing high school football playoffs. For others, it's a holiday weekend. How does that change things from a visit standpoint? Is playing that game on Friday help or hurt? And just it being the holiday weekend, does it limit the number of people that can visit? If so, how much pressure is that put on trying to get kids on campus this weekend and next?
Yeah, I think the Friday could hurt them a little bit. I mean, I really haven't dived into it very heavily, but you think about especially the moms. The moms wants to focus on, usually wants to focus on family during the holidays, and they may be out of state, visiting with family, and instead of maybe jumping in the car on a Saturday morning and heading to a game, you're asking them to do that on a Friday, and that may not go well with mom. So I would tend to think maybe Saturday would be better, but at the same time, the plus there is there's just not as many games on Friday as there are on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I think that's rivalry weekend, is it?
Rivalry weekend in college football? Yeah. I mean, there's...
Yeah. So
Richard, come on. It's the Battle Line rivalry. I mean... Come on.
I'm sorry, man. I'm about half awake.
Yeah.
So, but, yeah, I mean... there's some pluses and there's some minuses of playing on Friday. So it's they still have usually a good amount of kids there on Fridays.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.